Extreme heat emergency. Millions of Americans under heat, flood, and air quality alerts. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're covering one of the biggest developing stories across the United States as millions of people face a combination of dangerous heat, flooding concerns, and poor air quality. Weather officials across several states continue to monitor conditions closely as temperatures climb to dangerous levels. Heavy rain increases the risk of flash flooding in some regions, and smoke and pollution reduce air quality in others. While weather events like these are not unusual during the summer, the combination of extreme heat, localized flooding, and unhealthy air conditions has placed millions of Americans under various alerts and advisories. If you or your loved ones live in an affected area, staying informed and following guidance from local authorities can help reduce health risks. In today's report, we'll explain what's happening, why these conditions have developed, which parts of the country are experiencing the greatest impacts, and what experts recommend to stay safe during this period of severe weather. Let's begin with the heat emergency that has become the primary concern across much of the nation. Large areas of the United States are experiencing temperatures well above seasonal averages. In many communities, daytime temperatures are reaching the upper 90s or even exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit. When high humidity combines with intense sunshine, the heat index, often called the feels-like temperature, can become even more dangerous. In some places, people may experience heat index values well above 105 degrees, increasing the risk of heat-related illnesses. Meteorologists explain that prolonged high pressure over parts of the country is allowing hot air to remain trapped near the surface, creating a persistent heat dome effect. This weather pattern limits cloud formation, reduces rainfall in some regions, and allows temperatures to build day after day. Even nighttime temperatures remain unusually warm, making it difficult for homes and buildings without adequate cooling to release accumulated heat. Health experts say warm nights are especially concerning because the human body depends on cooler nighttime temperatures to recover from daytime heat exposure. Without that recovery period, the risk of heat stress increases significantly, particularly for older adults, young children, outdoor workers, and people with chronic medical conditions. Emergency management agencies are encouraging residents to remain hydrated throughout the day, even before feeling thirsty. Doctors recommend drinking water regularly, limiting strenuous outdoor activity during the hottest hours of the afternoon, and seeking air-conditioned environments whenever possible. Many cities have opened cooling centers where residents without reliable air conditioning can spend time in a safer environment during peak heat. Community organizations are also reminding neighbors to check on elderly family members, people living alone, and anyone who may be especially vulnerable to extreme temperatures. Across many communities, emergency medical services are preparing for an increase in calls related to heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Heat exhaustion often begins with heavy sweating, dizziness, weakness, nausea, muscle cramps, and headaches. If left untreated, it can progress to heat stroke, a life-threatening emergency that may include confusion, loss of consciousness, seizures, or dangerously high body temperature. Medical professionals emphasize that recognizing these warning signs early and seeking immediate assistance can save lives. Workers in construction, agriculture, transportation, landscaping, and delivery services face additional challenges during periods of extreme heat because their jobs require prolonged outdoor exposure. Many employers are adjusting work schedules by moving physically demanding tasks to early morning hours, increasing rest breaks, and providing additional water and shaded rest areas. Safety experts continue to stress that preventing heat illness requires planning ahead rather than reacting after symptoms develop. Pets are also vulnerable during periods of extreme heat. Veterinarians remind pet owners to ensure animals always have access to clean drinking water and shade, and to avoid walking dogs on hot pavement during the afternoon, because asphalt temperatures can become much hotter than the surrounding air. Even a short walk on overheated pavement can injure sensitive paw pads. Drivers are also reminded never to leave children or pets inside parked vehicles, even for a few minutes, because temperatures inside a closed car can rise rapidly to dangerous levels. As the heat emergency continues, electricity demand is increasing sharply as millions of households rely on air conditioning to stay safe. Utility companies in several regions are closely monitoring power usage and encouraging customers to conserve electricity during peak demand hours whenever possible. Simple steps such as raising thermostat settings slightly when safe, avoiding the use of major appliances during the hottest part of the day, and closing blinds to reduce indoor heat can help ease pressure on the electrical grid. Although utility providers continue working to maintain reliable service, officials remind residents to prepare for the possibility of localized outages caused by severe weather or equipment failures. Having bottled water, flashlights, batteries, portable phone chargers, and essential medications readily available is part of basic emergency preparedness. While many regions struggle with record-breaking heat, others are simultaneously dealing with another weather threat. Heavy rainfall has increased concerns about flash flooding in certain areas, where saturated ground cannot absorb additional water quickly enough. Flooding can develop rapidly, sometimes within minutes after intense rainfall begins. Emergency officials repeatedly remind drivers that it takes only a small amount of moving water to sweep a vehicle away. The safest choice is always to avoid driving through flooded roads, even if the water appears shallow. Weather experts continue monitoring rainfall forecast carefully because conditions can change quickly depending on storm development. Adding another layer of concern, wildfire smoke and other airborne pollutants are affecting air quality in several regions. Poor air quality can be especially dangerous for children, older adults, pregnant women, and people living with asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or heart disease. Health officials recommend reducing outdoor activity when air quality reaches unhealthy levels and using high-quality air filtration indoors whenever practical. People who experience difficulty breathing, chest pain, or worsening respiratory symptoms are encouraged to seek medical advice promptly. This combination of extreme heat, flood potential, and reduced air quality makes the current weather situation especially challenging, because communities may face multiple hazards at the same time. Emergency managers continue coordinating with weather agencies, health departments, and local governments to monitor changing conditions and communicate updated guidance. Officials emphasize that weather alerts are issued to help people prepare and take appropriate precautions rather than create unnecessary alarm. Staying informed through trusted local weather services and emergency notifications remains one of the most effective ways to respond to rapidly changing conditions. As forecasts continue to evolve over the coming days, millions of Americans are watching closely to see when cooler temperatures may finally arrive, and whether additional storms could bring both relief and new challenges. In the next part of this report, we'll examine which regions of the United States are experiencing the greatest impacts, how flooding risks are developing, and what forecasters expect over the next several days. As weather conditions continue to evolve across the United States, the focus is now shifting to the regions experiencing the greatest impacts from this widespread weather emergency. While every state is facing its own unique challenges, meteorologists explain that the combination of extreme heat, excessive humidity, localized flooding, and reduced air quality has created a complex weather pattern affecting millions of people from coast to coast. In the Southwest, communities continue to experience intense daytime temperatures that remain well above seasonal averages. Residents in these areas are becoming familiar with prolonged periods of triple-digit heat, but experts warn that even populations accustomed to hot summers face increased risks when extreme temperatures persist for several consecutive days without meaningful overnight cooling. Hospitals and emergency responders remain on alert for an increase in heat-related illnesses, while local governments continue encouraging residents to limit unnecessary outdoor activities during the hottest hours of the afternoon. In parts of the South and Southeast, high humidity is making already dangerous temperatures feel even hotter. Meteorologists use the heat index to estimate how hot conditions feel to the human body when humidity is taken into account. And in many locations, those values have climbed well above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. This combination significantly increases the likelihood of dehydration, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke, especially for people spending extended periods outdoors. Public health officials continue reminding residents that drinking water regularly, wearing lightweight clothing, taking frequent breaks in shaded or air-conditioned areas, and recognizing the early symptoms of heat illness can make a critical difference. Meanwhile, several states are also dealing with heavy rainfall capable of producing flash flooding. Unlike river flooding that often develops over several days, flash floods can occur within minutes after intense rainfall begins, leaving little time for preparation. Weather experts explain that when thunderstorms repeatedly move across the same location, rainfall totals can increase rapidly, overwhelming drainage systems and causing creeks, streams, and low-lying roads to flood. Emergency managers continue urging residents to stay informed through local weather alerts, especially during overnight hours when heavy rain may be more difficult to recognize. Drivers remain one of the most vulnerable groups during flooding events because many flood-related rescues occur after vehicles become trapped in rising water. Safety officials consistently emphasize the message, "Turn around, don't drown," reminding motorists never to drive across flooded roadways, regardless of how shallow the water may appear. Water flowing across pavement often hides damage beneath the surface, and even a relatively small amount of moving water can carry away a passenger vehicle. Rescue teams across multiple regions remain prepared to respond quickly if dangerous flooding develops. Beyond the immediate threats of heat and flooding, air quality has become another growing concern in several parts of the country. Smoke from wildfires, combined with atmospheric conditions that trap pollution near the ground, has reduced air quality in some regions to unhealthy levels. Environmental agencies monitor air pollution continuously and issue air quality alerts whenever concentrations of fine particles or ozone may pose health risks. These alerts are particularly important for children, older adults, pregnant women, and individuals with asthma, heart disease, or other chronic respiratory conditions. Health experts recommend limiting strenuous outdoor exercise during periods of poor air quality and, when possible, remaining indoors with clean, filtered air. Schools, sports organizations, and community groups are also monitoring air quality conditions before scheduling outdoor events. Athletic trainers and coaches continue adjusting practice times, shortening workouts, or moving activities indoors whenever conditions become unsafe for participants. Employers with outdoor workforces are implementing additional safety measures, including mandatory hydration breaks, shaded recovery areas, and closer supervision of workers performing physically demanding tasks. The agricultural sector faces unique challenges during prolonged periods of excessive heat. Farmers are working to protect both crops and livestock from extreme temperatures by increasing irrigation where available, providing additional shade for animals, and adjusting work schedules to avoid the hottest part of the day. Livestock producers remain especially attentive because prolonged exposure to high temperatures can reduce animal health and productivity. Across urban areas, cities are also responding to what experts call the urban heat island effect. Buildings, roads, parking lots, and other paved surfaces absorb large amounts of solar energy during the day and slowly release that heat overnight, causing cities to remain significantly warmer than nearby rural areas. This effect makes nighttime cooling more difficult and increases health risks for residents without access to air conditioning. Local governments continue expanding access to cooling centers located in libraries, community centers, schools, and other public facilities where residents can escape dangerous temperatures for several hours each day. Volunteers and nonprofit organizations are distributing bottled water, cooling supplies, and information about heat safety to vulnerable populations, including people experiencing homelessness. Utility companies continue monitoring electricity demand carefully as millions of households rely on air conditioning throughout the day and night. During prolonged heat waves, electricity consumption can reach seasonal highs, placing additional stress on power infrastructure. Utility providers encourage customers to conserve energy during peak demand periods whenever it is safe to do so by using programmable thermostats, turning off unnecessary lights, delaying the use of large appliances until evening hours, and keeping window coverings closed during the afternoon. Emergency planners also remind residents to prepare for unexpected power outages by charging mobile devices, keeping emergency flashlights available, storing enough drinking water for several days, and ensuring essential medications remain accessible. Families with individuals who depend on electrically powered medical equipment are encouraged to have backup plans in place should outages occur. Transportation systems are also affected during periods of extreme heat. High temperatures can cause road surfaces to soften, railway tracks to expand, and increased demand for vehicle air conditioning may contribute to mechanical breakdowns during long-distance travel. Transportation agencies continue inspecting infrastructure and encouraging travelers to carry extra water, monitor weather forecasts, and check road conditions before beginning extended trips. Aviation experts also note that extremely high temperatures can influence aircraft performance, occasionally resulting in operational adjustments at some airports, although airlines work carefully to minimize disruptions whenever possible. Looking ahead, meteorologists continue analyzing forecast models to determine how long these hazardous conditions may persist. While some regions may experience temporary relief through scattered thunderstorms or passing weather systems, forecasters caution that thunderstorms can also produce dangerous lightning, damaging wind gusts, and localized flooding. In other areas, high-pressure systems responsible for trapping heat may remain in place for several more days before gradually weakening. Weather prediction remains a constantly evolving science, and small changes in atmospheric patterns can significantly influence local conditions. That is why emergency management officials continue encouraging residents to rely on official weather forecasts and local emergency notifications rather than rumors circulating on social media. Remaining informed, following guidance from local authorities, and taking simple preventive measures can greatly reduce the risks associated with this widespread weather emergency. As millions of Americans continue facing dangerous heat, flooding concerns, and declining air quality, preparation and awareness remain the strongest tools for protecting lives and communities. In the next part of our report, we'll take a closer look at the health impacts of prolonged extreme heat, how emergency responders are preparing for continued hazardous conditions, and the practical steps every family can take to stay safe during this ongoing weather event. As this widespread weather event continues to develop, communities across the United States remain focused on preparation, awareness, and public safety. Forecasts indicate that while some regions may begin to experience gradual relief as weather patterns shift, others could continue facing dangerous heat, localized flooding, or periods of unhealthy air quality over the coming days. Meteorologists emphasize that weather systems can change quickly, making it important for residents to monitor updates from their local weather offices and emergency management agencies. Even when temperatures begin to decline slightly, experts warn that the effects of prolonged heat can continue, especially for vulnerable populations who have experienced several consecutive days of high temperatures without adequate nighttime cooling. Recovery from an extended heat wave is often gradual, and health officials encourage people to continue practicing heat safety until advisories and warnings have officially expired. Local governments, emergency responders, hospitals, utility companies, and community organizations remain prepared to respond as conditions evolve. Cooling centers continue providing safe indoor spaces for residents without reliable air conditioning, while volunteers and nonprofit groups assist vulnerable individuals with water, transportation, and wellness checks. Emergency management teams are also monitoring flood-prone locations, maintaining communication with weather forecasters, and preparing resources in case additional storms develop. Officials stress that community preparedness plays a major role in reducing the impact of severe weather, and simple actions such as checking on neighbors, conserving electricity when possible, and following official safety guidance can help protect lives. Environmental experts also continue monitoring air quality conditions, particularly in areas affected by wildfire smoke or elevated pollution levels. Residents with respiratory conditions are encouraged to follow recommendations from healthcare providers and reduce outdoor exposure when air quality reaches unhealthy levels. Looking beyond the immediate emergency, scientists note that periods of extreme weather highlight the importance of resilient infrastructure, effective emergency planning, and public awareness campaigns designed to help communities respond quickly to changing conditions. Investments in reliable power systems, improved flood management, early warning technology, and expanded access to cooling resources can strengthen preparedness for future weather events. While discussions about long-term weather trends continue among researchers, officials remain focused on the immediate priority of protecting public health and ensuring communities receive accurate, timely information. Throughout this event, one message has remained consistent: staying informed saves lives. Residents are encouraged to pay close attention to official forecasts, heat evacuation or safety instructions if issued, avoid unnecessary travel during hazardous conditions, remain hydrated during periods of extreme heat, and never underestimate the dangers of floodwaters or poor air quality. Even experienced residents can face unexpected risks when multiple hazards occur at the same time. By preparing emergency supplies, maintaining communication with family members, and following trusted public safety guidance, individuals can significantly reduce their risk during severe weather. As this story continues to evolve, we will keep following the latest verified information and provide updates as new forecasts and official announcements become available. Thank you for watching. If you found this report helpful, consider subscribing to the channel for reliable coverage of major U.S. weather events, breaking news, and important public safety updates. Leave a comment below to let us know what conditions are like in your area, and remember to stay safe, stay informed, and look out for one another. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next update.